You're absolutely first, Andy. Thanks for the $1.99. It's a random Wednesday stream. I don't know who's gonna pop in. Let me grab my water real quick.
Poggers.
We gotta get to building, because I don't know if I'm gonna get pulled away in the next hour or so. My schedule this week has sucked. It's taken me 2 days to write a script for a video I want to do, and it's not even done yet. So I gotta do another day of script writing, and then all the things I need to record are over here. Which means I'm gonna have a hard time getting all the B-roll together, since I don't really have a lot of time over here right now because of me having to help my parents with their move, which is taking forever. Yeah, man. So the main reason I'm buying the Ashe Waste Nomads is not only because they are on Amazon like $20 cheaper or something than Chaos Cultists, because I guess nobody wants to play Nomads and everyone wants to offload the Nomads. I hate the monopose nature of Chaos Cultists, and I was wondering if these would be less monopose. It looks like their bodies aren't. Their bodies are pretty monopose. Their weapon choices, I'm trying to figure this out. I think their weapon choices are, oh no, they do get some options. It looks like all the bodies go together where the shoulders are perfect. Like, they're perfectly apart from each other, and then you just pick the weapons. Which, that's fine. That's a bit better than Chaos Cultists. It's not way better, but it's a bit better. And these should be Chaos Cultist size bases. That's the thing, though. I can't, even if I sleep less, I don't sleep here. This is where I would need to be to work. And I haven't completed the move over here yet. Like, I don't have the bed here, and nothing's over here. So I can't just, like, do work here at night, which I would prefer to do. Because then this computer's better at editing than the one I have where I'm currently staying. I could get Newswave done a little bit faster, and then I could just turn around and record B-roll on this table. Like, no problems. Just clear it off, record B-roll, and I'll be good. But we are not there yet. Sucks. These look about the right size. I could go grab a cultist. Do I have a cultist just free floating? Their base sizes are very matched up. Let me grab. Where's, oh, of course they're in the bottom box. Still super pissed that Ashtor's not here, and he's probably, and even then, that's not a guarantee. The point, if it's not there by the first, just hit us up, just refund your money. Even though the shipping was, yeah, it's in customs. It was in customs like last week. I don't know what customs is thinking of just like holding on to it. Maybe there was something in it there wasn't supposed to be. I'm gonna get a phone call. Hey, are you a major drug dealer? No. All right. Right size base, good. And then model-wise, about the same size. A little bigger, maybe, but perfect. Yeah. Because I'm currently staying with them, because they rent property and stuff, so I'm just renting from them. But screw it, why not? Just let me know if it goes robot and stays that way, because it's how this thing works. And I want to go back to my regular microphones, because I've tried a few times to get this to not do that. Let me turn off the LCF. Maybe LCF being off will help it. Either way, we gotta build these guys. Try to get these guys together. Nomad Chieftain, which is good. That means I'll know if there are any more outside of the one you hear to them. Ugh. I want at least these guys built. I have to wait for Vashdor to paint. Like, I hate that. Freaking super obnoxious that Vashdor's not here yet. Alright, so I need 22 and 21. I like the look of them already. I love the long tattered cloth. I love how they're just like formatted to feel almost cult-ish. With their backpack cloths that are used to cast shade, but also would make for great banners. That's 22, 21's over here. Because I got the game semi-lined up Friday. I'm going to need to verify it because I told them I was going to try to head up and out Friday. I also left my camera at my friend's house, so I got to go pick that up. Because I have B-roll on there I want to use for something else. It's rolling dice, baby. That's the whole game. Roll dice. 25, 24. But yeah, they revealed Disciples of Tzeentch today. I'm still not told. Because I feel like I wasn't told enough to be over. I was given hints as to what's going to happen, but I hate that I don't know. 24. Where's 24? 24 looks like a foot? Yeah, it's a foot. Over here. I just hate assuming things I don't know. So when you tell me something like, what's up, Rax? It's still doing the robotic thing? It's still doing it. What the hell, man? Dude, I gotta just get my other microphones together. Maybe it's because it's too close to my headphones. I'll move it to the other side. Moving it to the other side. I think we'll try to Tamiya this. We can probably also pre-glue all the magnets into these with them open. I have no idea why it would be cutting in and out is the problem. Like, I don't understand. It's the same hardware as before. Let me just turn it off and on. Hang on. Alright, that just turns it off and on. We'll see what happens. The thing is, I'm pretty sure it's not the mixer. Because the thing I've heard by watching back the streams sounds exactly the same as what I hear when I watch back the battle report recordings. At this point, I'm just waiting for my second microphone to come over here. Because then I can run the one XLR mic over here, and then one on the other side as well. I feel like I need to, hang on. I'm gonna readjust the camera. I've been meaning to do this for a while now. And then we can zoom in. So if I'm gonna work on trimming, I can work here. Life is very weird, Shammy. I'm trying to focus up and get stuff done. I'm almost done writing the script for my How to Kill team, what to choose for your like on-field team video. But it's taken me like 2 days because every time I start working on it, I get pulled away. And I'm trying not to stay up super late at night anymore. Like, I don't want to keep staying up till 3 a.m. just to get some script writing done. I'm trying to find pockets in the day to do it. But if you've ever written a script in which you constantly walk away to get other things done that you're like being asked to do, you know how it feels when you get back and you're like, all right, where the hell was I? And then you kind of got to like drop back in your script, read a little bit, see what you were writing, see your thought process, make some adjustments maybe, because technically what you're doing is what you're supposed to do on your edit read through. So you might as well just do it then and there. Oh, I reused a word. I should, edit that out, change it. And then you get a little bit further and then you get called away again, and it's just a cycle. Because I want to get videos done, man. Beginning of the year, or actually kind of like a few months ago, I got like 3 videos out in a month, and that month I grew 1,000 subscribers. And these last couple months I've grown like 100. Did the tubes go over or under? Ash waste models look good. These were my decision for what I was going to build. I was suggested Deloc because Deloc does feel really zinchy. I do agree there. But I kind of prefer, I think they want me to put the front on first. I kind of like the desert look since my guys are supposed to be from the desert. This does look really cool. I like it. But yeah, I had this whole list idea together for the Vashdor army. And since I didn't get my model, and he's probably not going to be until Saturday, my Friday game is just screwed up, man. I can probably do without it, but I made major changes to my army simply because of how Vashdor's ability works. The assumption is, so if you're familiar with 40k, right? You understand that strength versus toughness is usually based for the strength. It needs to be at even numbers. Even numbers of strength is what brackets above certain people's toughnesses. So when you see a thing like the Mauler Fiends tendrils are strength 7, that is 3+ to wound against toughness 4 models. Kinda sucks. But if it's +1 strength, it goes to 8, therefore it's 2+. So when you're looking for things like strength 7 or strength 15 or 13 or 13 and stuff like that, that usually helps. The only other thing is the key brackets, right? So key brackets for strength versus toughness would be certain tanks have toughness 10 as like a primary. I think most of these guys are actually 10. 12 is also, of course, an option. So against armies where a lot of the tanks are toughness 10, you toss it down with the Forge Fiends. You make sure Vashdor is with the Forge Fiends, because then the Forge Fiend guns go to 3-up to wound, and then when you super Vashdor enhance them with the Dark Pact, then they're 2+ to wound, which is insane. And dev wounds and lethal and sustained and all that nonsense. So the Too Many Games guest announcements, that was just, so John sent it to everyone who was going to be there for the Spawncast and just was like, hey man, you got to fill this out. So they'll have your tickets at the counter and everything. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. That's cool looking. But yeah, Delac, if my Thousand Suns were based as like an industrial or frickin' Hive City look, I'd probably go Delac, because I feel like Delac would be the ones that Thousand Suns would mess with. Try to make them, you know, bend to their will, all that kind of stuff. No, yeah, that's the thing. So they send the form, or he sent us all the forms, so you could fill them out how you wanted with the info you wanted. That's not like me telling them what I do and then having them make the stuff. It's them being like, hey, we don't want to have to fill this out. we don't want to have to guess, so just fill it out for us and we'll just pop it in there. So I sent them a picture of my little character here, the little guy right here. And I was like, yep, that's me. Put me in. I wanted to see if they were going to do it. And yeah, they did it. So, sweet. Magnets. How do they work? Yeah, man. This is mostly just for the tickets, because I think that's how they know who they're giving tickets to. Who's on their guest list. These are probably way too big for the magnets. What up, Dragon? But yeah, I'm not excited right now by the Disciples of Tzeentch rules, but like, I feel like it's because they didn't tell us the important stuff. Like, a key thing I thought was bad from the original Disciples, yeah, cost per unit. Sure. Summoning tree is gone. It looks like it's replaced by the conflagration ability, which seems a little basic, but you know, maybe that's supposed to be how going forward is. We don't know if any other models cause conflagration on their own. We don't know if it's like a basic thing or if they have to cast a spell or do other stuff. Yeah. Damn, son. I had that happen. I mean, I'm using super glue here. I tend to use super glue here, although I've heard Loctite is good. There's a couple options for gluing magnets into the bottoms of bases, but Using plastic on doing this is kind of meaningless. I've also used plastic glue because I have a plastic glue that cures thick, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a gap filler, sort of. It doesn't really super fill gaps, but it will help out in certain situations because it'll melt the stuff together like a plastic glue does, and then it will dry in a way where there's like a thickness to it that you could technically file down to like negate any weird problems. I've got like 4 glues basically that I dip between. Super tends to only be for magnets. Plastic glues with gap filler is for certain parts that I'm like, I kind of want to gap fill this. And then Tamiya, I try to use. I keep trying because I've had it for a while and I really want to like it. But I'm starting to think I really just want to turn it into sprue goo and just go from there. Because I feel like I glued this thing together with Tamiya and it seems fine. But I have historically glued stuff together with Tamiya where like 3 days later I've touched it and it just falls apart. And I have no idea why. Yeah, Rax. Senior year in college, I had 2 roommates for a 2-bedroom apartment in Baltimore. Senior year, one of our roommates didn't renew his name on the lease and didn't tell us. Like, that was some spiteful shit. Technically, we could. I mean, I don't think I'm going to optimally load these guys out, but I'm using them as chaos cultists because they're the right base size for it, and they come in numbers of 10, which is solid. So technically, I'm probably going to be buying a lot more Ash Waste Nomads to fill the sheer quantity of cultists you're probably going to want on the field. I think on average, people will want about 3 squads of cultists, if not 4. So I will have a lot of these. But yeah, he basically screwed us over for a year. Because the way that the apartments work is they don't want people staying in your apartment that aren't on the lease. Unless they're, of course, like your kids or something. Like, legally speaking, they have to stay there with you. So the base sizes are exactly the same, and later, Rex. Yeah, once the head's on, I think they're going to be slightly taller because of how their backpacks work, but they're the same size, dude. Like, leg thickness is about the same. It's great. And it's the same cost. And since no one likes Ash Waste Nomads, as far as I can tell, I can get them for $10. Actually, no, I think it was $15 cheaper than normal. Like, Chaos Cultists right now, because Cultists are big and everyone wants to run them, $47. I feel like the prices of them online are going up just because they're becoming massively important for Chaos, and that's usually how it works. People realize what is important and then jack up the price. I feel like 47's over here somewhere. Oh, these are both the exact same sprues. Okay. So I think I need to build 2 of these then, right? Where the hell is this backpack? This is his close combat weapon. I have no idea how to play Necromunda at all. I don't even have the rulebook for it. There's a small crowd of people at the Warhammer store that try to play narrative games, but it seems like that really slowed down recently. Oh, there's 47. Okay. So, like, could be cool. Don't know, though. But at the very least, I will have models. I need to keep an eye on things. We have to order dead. Oh. They do look cool, the new Gene Stealers. I think their cost is going to be too high, though. Like, I run GSC, and part of me was thinking, oh, let me get some pure strains. And then I see the Mal strains, and I'm like, ooh, I could definitely see running those. They look so much cooler, but I feel like they're just going to be so much more expensive than pure strains. So this is up, I think, right? Yeah, it's up. But how? So this is the downside. They don't actually show you how anything connects. You have to just kind of look and assume. So there's 2 bars. And if I can figure out how to get this centered in a way where it sort of snaps together. I think that's it. That looks like it. It is pretty seamless there. No, yeah, it seems wild. That's why I was really happy when I saw that the Ash Waste Nomads cost the same flat as Chaos Cultists. And then when I looked at the Amazon pricing for a lot of this, the Chaos Cultists are like $50 or like 48 or something. And then these guys were like $40 flat when I bought them. Good discount. Solid discount. Again, because I'm guessing no one plays them. There's someone at the store, too, who I guess bought the Ash Waste starter box that comes with one of these squads, and he had no plans on playing it. So I was like, dude, I will straight up buy them off of you. But yeah, Disciples of Tzeentch. I feel like the reveal today didn't show me enough to be hyped. I consider myself stuck with them because I don't really want to dump thousands of dollars onto an AOS army. And I'd rather just use the things that I have that I can sort of cycle into my Thousand Suns list either way. Let's go 41. What's up, Caleb? So that's kind of my whole thing, is like, well, I'm playing them either way. So I'll be playing them against people who are about to pick their armies or have been collecting for AOS for quite some time and have multiple options. So hopefully I feel up to the challenge. Dude, we call this plastic crack. We call it plastic crack for that very reason. This is addictive as hell. What are these pipes? Oh, that's not a pipe. Okay, I get it now. Because what they showed today, in my opinion, is literally just, hey, we did away with summoning, which, according to people on my Discord, means the cost per unit should be reduced, which that would improve things, I believe. But they didn't really replace it with much. They replaced it with an interesting ability that, as far as I can tell, only works against some people. Specifically death. Maybe rats. I don't know. We'll see how many teams in this game have reviving units. But they did away. So they did away with summoning. They replaced it with a very basic debuff. They didn't tell us who can debuff outside of the faction ability to declare someone debuffed after hitting them with a spell. So the markup on some of it is high. John and I, actually, when we were part of our old game store, had an opportunity to sell Games Workshop products out of our storefront. They contacted us and were like, hey, can you guys, you know, clear up some shelf space and maybe sell our products? And we were genuinely thinking about it. Because what they do is they send you an information packet that involves just a metric ton of, you know, hey, this is how much it costs for you to purchase, and this is how much you need to sell it for. And it was always like, buy for $5, sell for $30. And that's why a lot of stores, like gaming stores, put a lot of emphasis on this game. And give them a lot of shelf space. It's because the actual markup per model, because of the bulk purchasing and system at which they print, reduced costs so greatly that they were able to pass on a lot of the earnings to the storefronts willing to actually sell it. And I think that might be why there's a lot of models that are considered like online only. Because then the Games Workshop store is just getting the full stuff. I worked at a store, and eventually, like, dude, it was a wild story back then. So our store was started by two brother-in-laws who had no idea what they were doing. One of them wanted to run the store like how it should be run, and then the other one was mostly doing it to try to have a really cool thing to point people to as like one of his success stories so that he could get laid. That was literally it. This guy was married with a kid. Not his kid. It was a step kid. She was sort of an heiress to a small fortune. So this guy married her and then just started like churning money out of her. He built a full set. Like, what was the game? Steel Battalion. He basically built a Steel Battalion arcade system in his basement that involved like big screens that made it look like you were actually in the mech, the full remapping of the giant controller to actually be in positions that a mech would have. Like, he went crazy. He had a saltwater pool, bought a big truck with tons of upgrades and enhancements in it, and then he bought a store so that he could take people he meets to it to be like, hey, everyone, I'm successful. Let's go back to your place. While he was married. So we knew that was gonna, you know, end at some point, and it did. Ugh. Making me mod stuff, Andy. Necromunda is more narrative than Kill Team. Kill Team has a lot more focus. Even the narrative version of Kill Team has a lot more focus on trying to be at least competitive to a degree. You still get cool enhancements and upgrades and stuff and customizations in the narrative Spec Ops format of Kill Team, because you can get really cool upgrades, leveling, and all that. But it happens in Necromunda too. And you can get some really cool gear, very unique things, build units specific ways. It still involves, to my understanding, the point system that everyone wanted Kill Team 2.0 to have. You'd be able to build your gang based on funding. And then as you're completing missions and going through narrative campaigns, you get access to more and more funding so that you can get newer and newer units. And from what I've been told, because I haven't personally played, there's situations in Necromunda where, like, let's say you're doing really well as the Ashe Waste, and then the next game you play, you use the extra funding you have to buy, like, a vehicle, like a big Ashe Waste vehicle. And your opponents don't have good stuff. What's up, go for it? And like you can kind of overpower your opponent, but then there's built-in systems to be like, oh well, the person running the campaign has provided you an ally or something. Like there's a little bit more of a narrative experience like D&D in Necromunda, but you can get to weird shit. Like I was watching a game at the local store that was going on, and the games master was like very lenient with the new players, because one of the new players actually lost almost everyone in his initial gang that he had purchased. They all died. So he was like, all right, I'm just gonna be like, hey, this gang approaches you and goes, hey, we're weak on our own, we want to join you for whatever reason, so can you just, you know, buy us with whatever money he had? And he was like, sure, that's fine. So we got a bunch of new units for super cheap as like a narrative thing, and then in the next game, one of them fired a grenade launcher, it misfired, blew up, and killed 3 of his people. Dude, do I even show that, Andy? Like, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, Andy. Make me moderate. What was I talking about before? What were we talking about? Oh, the store. So let me do 1 and 2. We just got to get through the bodies at this point. We'll do the specialist, I think. Charge caster? I don't think I want to do that. We're just going to put bodies together. Yeah, let's just put bodies together. Oh, it's absolutely why no one makes you a mod, Andy. So, the store. So, that started to collapse. We had a good initial opening because we did a lot of weird stuff. The guy just had so much money set aside that, I don't know if you're familiar with the band The Ting Tings. At the time, they were really big. I don't think they're big anymore, because I haven't really heard anything about them. It's not saying much. I don't really listen to that kind of stuff. So we had an event go on where we paid a radio station to get the Ting Tings as a concert for a high school. So people from that high school had to come to our store, purchase something, and then put their high school's name in. Like, they would tell us to write their high school name in, and we would just write it. And then from that point forward, it would eventually get to a situation where we would, like, draw a name. I think there's more heads than needed on this, right? I don't have to use the leader head. Let me take a look. And then the high school would have the concert, and it was, you know, a whole thing. So there was just so much money getting dumped into the store to get people interested in it from this guy who just had a ton of money because his wife was rich. And then he was trying to cheat on her all the time. So that started to fall apart for him. Eventually, he started working at a tree nursery, like for trees. And he didn't have a place to stay, so he was apparently sleeping in the shack there because the woman who owned it was one of the women he cheated with. And so he was like, all right, I can't really manage this store anymore. So he tried to sell it back to the owner of the overall chain. But that guy was a con man. They both were, technically. So that guy comes in, starts talking all this big stuff. One of his plans was to buy, like, access to a form of internet. What was it? We had regular cable, we had dial-up, and then fiber was becoming a thing. But there was that, like, in between that no one was using anymore. D something. DSL, I think. Internet. Yeah, DSL. No one was using DSL, so he was trying to make it so that there'd be a built-in system where all the stores would have a server that would run DSL to each other. And people could sign up with our store, and instead of paying Xbox for Xbox Live, you would pay us a slightly less fee to run on our system. And then you could play games against each other. And he was like, "What? Isn't that awesome?" And I was like, "How would that work?" I went down the whole logistics of, like, that means you're just LANing, which means you have to figure out a way to make it so the LAN works where all the systems are on the same LAN. And he was like, "Oh, so it doesn't work?" And I was like, "Yeah. Why would you think it works?" And in his time at our location, he basically was closing down all the other locations that were near us. Like, he would just show up there with us. He actually made us drive out to them after he bought them. Those are 1,000 Sun Warpsmiths, yes. I play 1,000 Suns. I have a lot of demon engines in my 1,000 Suns. So when the Chaos Space Marine Codex came out, I went, you know what? I want to keep playing, and I want new rules. And I need Warpsmiths for my demon engine army. So I had all these extra bits, and I decided to just make Warpsmith 1,000 Sun Marines and Sorcerers. Because it works. It fits. I like it. I was supposed to have Vastor here today. Actually, he was supposed to be here last week. He's apparently held in customs. He is too badass. Oh, I'm realizing I screwed up. 23. Where's 23? Okay. Oh, it's not that bad, though. So yeah, he sold the store to this other guy who was an absolute con man, who was basically shutting everything down, but also taking money from us in bulk. So he's from California. That's where he's based out of, basically. And his whole plan was to come to our store every other week and spend a week working at our store, making sure everything's good. And to do that, he made demands of our store. He demanded that we buy him an apartment. And pay for a car through a rental service to always be around. Key concept, always. That means even when he wasn't in the state, his car was still being rented for him to use whenever he came back. So he was buying a plane ticket to and from California to here, which is cross country, every other week. It started not long ago. This is the story of kind of where I used to work with a buddy of mine, who I edit for now. Come on, actually fit. This is where you get to the tiny flimsy bits that are obnoxious. You got to kind of position them well and trick them into doing what they need to do. I hate. I might actually end up taking these home, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream tomorrow. Come on. And I need these done. I keep touching the foot, and it keeps moving. I'm not happy about that. This is my problem with Tamiya. This wouldn't have happened if this was regular plastic glue. But for some reason with Tamiya, it doesn't always settle right away. Like, you have to wait hours for it to properly settle. There we go. Honestly, I've compared their sizes a few times. They're the same size as Chaos Cultists. Just about, maybe slightly thicker. But consider, like, this is a Marine versus this is a Necromunda guy. They're still smaller. The scale is supposed to be slightly bigger just because the characters are supposed to be more detailed, because they represent a lot more for their gear. But yeah, back to story time. So this guy was definitely trying to run us under because he wasn't getting us pre-orders on time. He wasn't really helping. He was mostly showing up, having us pay for a ton of stuff for him, and then leaving. And it was just kind of to be a jet setter to, I guess, tell other investors that he travels across country a lot to talk to all the different businesses. But when he was doing this, we started to talk to older stores, and they were like, yeah, since this time, we've kind of moved away from him and have figured out how to get out of the contract, because the contract clearly states, hey, I'm going to get you things on time. I'm going to get you pre-orders, blah, 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 blah. And he doesn't. I'm going to get you promotional material. Nope. You have to make your own promotional material. Like, there's all these things in his contract that sound good when you sign up, but then he doesn't do. But then if you do anything on your end that's, like, counter to the contract, he'll step forward and be like, hey, you want me to fine you for not doing what I told you to do? So they were like, look, just point out that he's a piece of garbage and that he's not fulfilling his end of the bargain to get out of your contract. And we were like, okay. So we did. But in that moment, he kind of owned our store because the prior owner told us that he had sold it to him. And we went, okay. And then one day, the prior owner's in there, and we're talking to him. We're like, dude, this guy is just going to close us down. Like, he's not doing anything beneficial to the store. He's kind of screwing us over. And he went, oh, so do you not want him to own the place? And we were like, what do you mean? And he said, oh, I mean, I still have the contract claiming I own it. He never signed for ownership. So He doesn't legally own the store. He's just been trying to run it. We went, what? Like, so he's taking money from us without actually owning us? He was like, oh yeah. So this other guy we'd been working with who repairs computers. He was a computer repair guy who'd come in and, you know, help us for that type of stuff. Was like, I mean, I'll buy the store for a couple grand, because the one dude just wanted to offload it at that point. So he was like, yeah, I'll sell it to you for a couple grand. And then that was kind of that. That was how it all ended for that. We got this new guy who, it worked for like 3 years. It worked. And then some decisions started happening that we were very confused about. And we're kind of like, we should not have done this. There's very little reason we should have done this. Did I already trim the foot? No. Where's the foot? And it was this whole back and forth. It was all these issues. Like, the Jersey store was having problems, and he was like, oh man, I could own a second store for cheap. No, don't do it. No, stop. Then he got in a car accident, got on painkillers, which apparently in a prior life, before he was a IT guy, he was also in rehab for drug use. So he started taking painkillers and relapsed. Started taking all the money from the store and using it on drugs, to the point where our power got shut off, and the landlords for our location that we had were like, yo, you haven't paid rent in months. Get out. So one day we just showed up at the store with a moving truck and moved to a new location he found that was a lot cheaper down the road, that I guess didn't know him. Oh, phone call. This might be me having to leave. I am using these for 40k. I'll have them for Necromunda if I want to go that route, because I am going to be buying a ton of them. I need maybe 3 squads of cultists. And that's what they will represent, Caleb. But yeah, so we moved. The guy was going through a divorce because he was cheating on his then wife with one of our employees, who he was still paying to work for us, but she literally would just show up and then go sit in back on her phone. So that was the whole thing. So his wife was kicking him out and divorcing him. So he moved. Didn't want the new place to be under his name because of the divorce. He figured if it was under his name, she would be able to have access to half of it and then potentially sell it from him. So he made John put his name on the lease and the business. He was like, John, do it. And John went, yeah, that's fine. And I remember him telling me this a while after, because I assumed his name was still on it, and I was like, dude, we need to figure something out, because he's fully relapsed. He's just doing drugs. Like, the rent's not getting paid, the power bill's not getting paid. That's why the power keeps getting shut off. We got to figure something out. And then John went, oh, no, my name's on the business. So, like, it's not like the divorce is going to cause the problem. And I went, you do realize he's doing terrible things financially with our money. And he's doing it under your name, which means you're going to get hit with the backlash when the time comes. Like, any taxes he didn't pay, that's going to hit you. Anything he didn't actually do like he was supposed to, that's going to hit you. And John went, oh, crap. And I was like, yeah. So I think in the span of a week, John opened a business account, changed the POS system over to his business account, and basically took all access to the store's money away from Damien. And then in a couple months, we basically built up this big income. It wasn't not like huge, but we had enough money to easily pay rent, easily pay for product, had a good backing. We're able to pay ourselves like some money. And it was fine, but then that's when backlashes started to occur that are reminders about how the world and the finances kind of work out. He hadn't paid taxes in the Jersey location for like all the years that he owned that store. He just refused to pay taxes. So I remember I was mowing the yard. Just getting some work done. And I remember him calling me and just going, all the money's gone. Because Jersey basically put a levy against his account because his name was now on the company name. So when they went looking for someone to blame, they found him. And they were just like, yep, screw that guy. 2, 1. Okay. Best starter set. For Kill Team, it does really come down to which team actually interests you. Because if the team comes from a starter set, you'll get a board, you'll get the teams, and you'll usually get a rule book. You'll still need tokens, most likely. Or you can just circumvent tokens, go straight to Etsy and purchase things that assist for engage and conceal orders and activated and unactivated and all that. You can just go that route. And then you'll need barricades, which again, Etsy, you can buy custom barricades. Rulers, you can just have your own rulers because I mean, it translates, right? People usually say starter box. The starter box does give you a rule book, but it gives you half of the team rules. Most people just run their rules through Waha at this point, or any other online system that tracks the rules, because it is a little bit hard to try to get your hands on just general rules. Alright, so we'll build this guy as he's supposed to be built for... Oh no, we won't. Actually, I'm not going to build his gun. We'll just build the bodies. Because his gun is like a harpoon launcher, and that doesn't really work for this. Nah, he's talking about California. California. So we started surviving when John took over, but it felt like almost every year something major was hitting us in like a horrible way, right? There was the taxes that we recovered from, but we lost thousands of dollars for, like, of our excess spending money. Literally, as a store, we probably would have closed down had too many games not happened like a week after. Because the week after, at too many games, we literally made everything we lost back. Which was really cool. But then the store started flooding, which was causing electrical problems as a repair shop. That's not great. We weren't having a good time repairing because a lot of the issues with some of the old consoles started leaning towards this situation where the only way to repair them was to do these major repairs. Reballing, specifically. Those who don't know, that is the removing of a chip, putting new solder down, and then putting it back on. Which, not the easiest task to complete by any stretch of the imagination. And it usually takes a while. Like, John was able to do them pretty heartily, which was good, but it would take him like an hour to do it. And then we would charge someone like $30. We weren't charging them anywhere near enough for the process. But if you charged them more than that, they would just buy a new console at the time. It just started getting really bad in terms of cost efficiency. So if you like Leagues of Votann, you can go the Close Quarters one that gives you the Hearthkin Salvagers if you can find that starter set. But the new starter set coming up for Genestealer Cults and Votann, you can just get that. It'll come with the rulebook. It'll come with... I actually can't remember what it comes with. I don't know if it comes with the tokens. I just don't know. I just don't know. Great Shammy posted the potential leak for them, though. The Hearthkin Jaegers. That's for 40k, though. But yeah, you can start there and then just print terrain if you want. You could even... People are okay if you print small things to go on models. You just can't print whole models for competitive things. Locally speaking, you probably could. People won't really care if you're just playing at like a small local scene situation. But if you go to like an actual tournament or go to a Warhammer store, Warhammer stores are actually told not to let people play if there's an overabundance of 3D printed models on their teams. You can 3D print some things. Games Workshop contends that it's fine, but it's like a situation where if you 3D print a part, and that part is something that you could easily gotten access to in a different situation through Games Workshop models, they get kind of mad. Like, it needs to at least be different enough that they won't be annoyed if they see you with it. Yeah, the Scorpion one had the specific faction tokens, but it also had regular tokens with it as well. Like, it was kind of a starter set of tokens. So yeah, so the store we worked at kept getting hit by random BS, just nonstop. And eventually John called me and was like, I sold it back to the prior owner, the one that was just stretched out on drugs, because he didn't want it to ruin his life anymore. Like, potentially hit him with like tax issues and stuff like that. And I was like, you know he's not going to pay rent. He was like, nah, it'll probably be fine. Guess what? After a month, the power got shut off. The landlords started to claim that rent wasn't being paid. I remember he bought a generator. This was my favorite part about him, because he, like, his drug-addled mind thought this was a good idea. He bought a generator because he figured the generator could manage the store. Like, you'd be able to run the POS system off of it. You would just close before it gets too dark. And he would just put the generator out back, and if I needed to plug something in for a repair that I was doing, I would just plug it into a power strip that he strung through the store. and that'd be fine. I remember him telling me, like, oh, the power cuts out. You probably just need to go outside and put more gasoline in it. He had a gas can sitting inside that I would supposed to take out there and put in. And this was apparently just going to happen throughout the day. He was like, it's fine. This is fine. It's how it should work. I remember I was talking to someone at the POS system about a game that they were thinking of picking up. I remember the POS system getting turned off, and I was like, oh, well, that means that can only mean one thing, and that one thing is that I gotta go refill the generator with gasoline. Oh well. So I was just talking to this guy about the game he was looking to get, and I remember he was like, alright, cool, I'll probably be back in to pick it up or whatever, I gotta, go home or something. Like, he was like, yeah, it's fine. I was like, alright, man. And he left, and I was like, alright, let me go get gas in this thing. So I walked out back, I grabbed the gas can, and then I walked out the back door to where the generator was, and it was gone! It was gone. It was completely gone. Someone had just walked through the back alley, saw a generator, and went, oh, an unattended generator. And then stole it. No, we didn't do cards. We did video games. Explicitly, we did video games. I mean, maybe. Either way, like, it was just dumb idea after dumb idea to circumvent the fact that he wasn't paying anyone anything anymore. Like, he was just done paying people stuff. Because I remember he just kept leaving me in the store. Like, this was the big thing. He would show up in the morning and be like, alright, everything's good. You can handle it, right? Just make money. And then tell me how much you made. Very drug-addled things to do. And then he would show up, like, every now and then and do nothing and then leave. So it was quite literally me running the store. And I'm pretty sure on the days when I had off, he just didn't show up and just kept the store closed. And, like, he hadn't been paying me. He moved away from, like, proper payment setups. He just moved away from it for me. Oh, yeah, Stegens. Good job. It's always fun winning creative prizes. Sadly, the last couple tournaments I went to didn't have any painting prizes, so I only ever won bottom 3 in best players. Ugh. Dude, I gotta focus up. I gotta properly play this 40k game. I'm starting to realize all the things, like my list building, that's where I lose. I lose in list building. I just keep losing in list building. I build for only what I am expecting to do and not what I'm expecting my opponent to do. which literally means I am basically building to have a perfect game where my opponent can't do anything. That's not good. I need to build for a few moments where my opponent will be destroyed. Who was he playing? Well, what was he playing as? T-Suns? What was his list? Because if his list is what I think it is at 1,000 points, he wasn't going to win. 1,000 points for T-Suns is terrible. I'm just going to say that right now. 1,000 Suns at 1,000 points is just not really viable the way you think it is. You were T-Suns and you slaughtered him? Okay. What did he have as GSC? Did he have enough battle line? And did he have any vehicles? Dude, 1,000-point games are so hard to think about. It's actually kind of a problem. Like, I kind of want to consider some stuff, but when I consider it at 1,000 points, it's so hard to, like, rationalize. Because he could dump, like, a single unit of power into, like, let's say Aberrants and an Abominant, like a small squad of Aberrants and an Abominant, and then he basically just has to fill out the rest of his stuff with, like, Neophytes and maybe a truck. But you don't get enough at 1,000 points to really feel your army the way it's supposed to. It's a whole new meta that you have to build for, which is weird. There's a ton of value in going as many cheap units as you can in 1,000 points, just because your opponent is also kind of suffering from 1,000 points, which means they're probably not going to have enough stuff on the field to cause problems to sort of mass army of, like, little guys. So a lot of it will come down to what he has access to, as well as what he reveals, right? Because the benefit, playing into T-Suns, you're playing against an army that tends to be reactionary, because T-Suns want you to go to the objectives in the middle. That's the whole point with us, right? You go to the objective, and then you just poop on people with all of your rerolls. So he has to figure out a way with his Gene Stealer cults to get to middle and hold it in a way where you as a T-Suns player can't kill him, which is very difficult. It's a process that involves, like, body blocking and screening and preventing movement. It's actually, okay, so it's an idea I had with T-Suns not that long ago, because I'm starting to realize the actual power of screening movement. It is very strong. It is so strong to screen people's movement. Let me walk you down a fun concept that I had with T-Suns, because I've always been trying to figure out how to have a turn 1 on T-Suns that doesn't feel like garbage and could actually serve to screw someone over. So against people who don't have flying vehicles or flying units, there is a fun play that I've been putting together in my head. It involves a squad of Archer Enlightened with 1 Shaman as their lead, right? That's what you have. The goal, 10 to 20 Neophytes, 5 Acolytes, 5 Aberrants, a Rock Grinder, a Primus, a Saboteur, and a Nexus. It's not a bad list. Okay, so the goal in my head for the thing I'm talking about that could mess with, that he could probably mess with to screw you over as a T-Suns player, is what I would say he might need to think of doing. So as a T-Suns player, you have 1 Shaman and a squad of Enlightened, right? Turn 1, they're on the board. If you get first turn, even if you get second, or first activation versus second, this is still kind of a viable play. If your opponent has a section of the field where he's like, oh, I've got some rhinos here, maybe a land raider, blah, 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 blah. Those are very powerful. Those are very obnoxious. They will be across the field in the turn. You will hate your life. But that shaman has an umbralific crystal. Boom, whole squad up. Command phase. Boom, squad down 9 inches away, hopefully from behind cover in a way where they can't get overwatched. Near the side of the board where your opponent's going to be able to push that maybe you want to go to instead, right? Or maybe you just want to leave them, keep them from pushing to get main points, and you're going to go the other way. Either way. So they land outside of Overwatch function 9 inches away, hopefully. This is very map dependent. You then, in your shooting phase, boom, frickin' temporal shift. You temporal shift that squad forward. You get your, I think, 12-inch movement or 11-inch movement. Either way, you put them forward, screen. Do a wall of screen between the tanks. Just one, if you can do it, 1 inch away. You just make a wall of friggin' Zangor Enlightened because they cannot overwatch you from a temporal shift move that is in the fight phase, not the move phase. So you are now sitting in front of a vehicle that will not be able to move next turn with a squad of people who have bows and arrows who can also shoot as well. The thing is, and I was reading this with one of the people at the store, I think you can double temporal shift that squad if you have to. If you have 10 total Cabal points, you would be able to have the shaman temporal shift himself, and then if there is a sorcerer near a Mutalisk Vortex Beast within 36 inches of that, temporal shift again to try to get the final move. You now have a perfect screen of 7 total large models sitting in front of vehicles. Just going, hey, you can't leave. And you are now also in a good enough position, I would think, that 9 times out of 10, you can look at one of those squads over there that has a leader in it and kill it. Because you've got 6 archers who have precision lethal hits, 2 attacks each, 12 attacks total. I think it's 2 damage per, 1 AP, hitting on 3s. So their whole goal as like an 100-point squad is to prevent your opponent from being able to move turn 1 in a direction that they want to go. And then at the same time, possibly kill one of the leaders. Just out of nowhere. I love that idea, and I kind of want to start employing it in my Thousand Sun army when I go back to it, but I'm not quite ready to go back to it yet. I'm focusing on trying to make this Vastor list work. I love it, though. I love that idea. He has to do the same thing. The biggest weakness with our Thousand Suns, and don't even tell me your list, because honestly, he shouldn't be building to counter your list, so I can't really determine like what to go with. But the list you told me of what he has, that Rock Grinder needs to sit in a position that makes you horrified as a Thousand Suns player, right? It just needs to go to a place where it can threaten people to charge them. That's its whole purpose, is to have 1 command point for tank shock in the pocket, and to move that squad to a situation where it's sitting behind an obscuring function that you as a Thousand Suns player can't get to because you're Thousand Suns, which means you're slow AF, which is what we are. We're slow as A. We're slow AF. But he puts it in a way where everything you have on the field can't get to it, can't see it. And it just sits there and goes, this area, this is my house. You cannot come into my house without taking a tank shock and the Rock Grinder tank shock, because both will work. Literally both work on the Rock Grinder. You will hit them with the mini tank shock as well as the big tank shock. And that could just wipe a squad. And as long as he has that, that area is now threatened, and it is not great. I don't think you want to put Rock Grinders in anything, or the Aberrants in anything. I think you leave them in reserve, and maybe you do the 3-inch deep strike to preemptively area block, right? Because even if you're running MSU Thousand Suns, honestly, I don't think you flamer down his any of his units on an Overwatch, right? And if he pays attention to your command points, what he can do is, I gotta look it up, because if I remember correctly, the 3-inch deep strike rule is applied whenever a unit comes in from reserve during any reserve phase, not just yours, but he could, for 2 command points, which, no, he wouldn't want a rapid ingress. During his phase, he would want to spend 1 command point for the 3-inch deep strike, which I don't even need to look that up. I know that works. Still kind of want to look it up though. Your movement phase. Oh, it is your movement phase only. Okay, so yeah, you can't do it as a rapid ingress thing. You can only do it as your reserve. So his turn, he pays the cost of entry to bring in 5 aberrants from reserve 3 inches away from you, and puts them in a 2-inch apart line in front of everything you have. You are not getting through that wall. He has basically stopped your movement turn 2, and then he plays. He needs to play for potentially later in the game, only sacrifice the squads he knows he could probably sacrifice, like his neophytes. And then just, I guess he's pocketing acolytes inside the rock grinder, right? That's a rough play. Because if you destroy that rock grinder in your turn and the acolytes are standing outside, you might have enough firepower to kill the acolytes, and it's pointless. That's going to come down to him making a call. It would be good to put them in the rock grinder, I feel like, just because after it blows up, he can technically disembark them on the far side of it, and if you're not completely around that thing, you're not going to be able to charge and kill them, which means he'll just have a squad of acolytes sitting there in front of you with possibly some, I think, 2 dynamite, and they'll just move forward and dynamite you. But from what I can tell, the way the game is played, he needs to play against you as a Thousand Suns player, which means you want him to be on points so you can rip him off of points for funsies. He cannot play points. He just can't play points. He has to play to counter you. Because if you're not scoring because you're not going to the point because you're hoping he goes to the point, guess what? He's not scoring either because he's not going to go to point and give you that. He needs to spend the time and the positioning to clear you off of your side to push you far enough away from an area that he feels comfortable then sitting on the point. And if he can do that, there it is. He can win. It is so hard playing at 1,000 points though, because you can't screen at 1,000 points, and that sucks. Primus is a good idea though. Primus is great. Throw that guy in the 20-man neophyte squad. Slowly move it across the field. Is a fantastic play. So it's just a strategic issue. That's all it is. It's something I'm trying to deal with as well. It's obnoxious. When I play Kill Team, it's something about the pacing and size of Kill Team that makes my brain not shut down strategically. Like, I'm able to look at the field and go, I need to move here. I need to do this thing. This is the turn where I have to go here. If I don't do this, he's going to gain the points, and it's going to give him too much of an advantage over me to catch up at the end. I'm going to have to prevent this from happening now. I'll body block here. Like, I do all of it. My brain... In a 1,000-point game, no. In a 2,000-point game, you probably want a triple Primus. The rerolls are too strong. Because I think you can throw them into an Alkalite squad, right? Let me look that up. Maybe not. I run too many Acolytes, is my thing. I don't run enough Neophytes. Everyone says you want to run full Neophyte squads, the full 20s, lots of them. Because it takes forever for you to get through them, and they regenerate, and they can just sit on points, and then they come back. And that's obnoxious. It is so obnoxious. I mean, it's a skill, my skill thing. I still am part of it. Because I know what I'm supposed to be doing. No, yeah, they do shred rubrics. But I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I still don't do it. Like, I know. I absolutely understand. Hey, I should block here. Guess what I don't do? I don't block. And I kind of hate it, but I kind of like it at the same time. Like, I just need to figure it out. Honestly, I have to. I'm probably going to go my second Helldrake for this list because I don't have my Vashtor. Because the Helldrake and Vashtor are about the same price. The points difference is something I have just sitting. So I think, yeah, I think I'm going to double Helldrake, which is not a good idea. I'm going to throw one into reserve, though. That way he can just kind of show up and be an asshole. Primus. Yeah, Acolytes. It's a 5-man Acolyte squad, so it's probably not worth it. But if you go big on Acolytes, giving your Acolytes the reroll hit rolls, oh my god. Dude, Acolyte plus Primus, if it's a squad that doesn't, if you don't care about it from Overwatch, or they've already burned their Overwatch, full squad Acolyte hybrids with 4 demolition charges and a Primus. That is D6 plus 3, 4 times, hitting on 5s, full re-rolling with sustained 1 active from coming in from Deep Strike. That does strength 12, AP 2 damage too. That is so horrifying. I have killed Terminators with that. I have killed, like, the scariest of units. I went into a Gene Stealer. I went into an Emperor. No. Talons of the Emperor, the Custodes army. I went into that with Dynamite. So I dropped my Dynamiters near one of his squads, and he was like, I'll probably take it. It'll be fine. Killed them. He said it was the most horrifying thing he's ever seen, because he never expected that. When people play against Gene Stealer cults for the first time, because there's not a lot of them in the local area, they always assume the troops are about the same as Imperial Guard, because we are very similar in look. We are not the same. We are not the same at all. In my opinion, Maguses are not great. They're still considered one of the worst units in the game, and after the reveals of the Codex so far, like, if you're going to go a Psyker, you're probably going to go the new one, because he destroys tanks. The issue is that the move speed reduction the Magus provides, it's not great when the unit doesn't have the ability to then just, like, go somewhere else, right? Because I think Return to Shadows only occurs, I want to say, in the enemy phase, like after the enemy fight phase is done. If the Magus isn't close to anyone, it'll be able to go back to reserve. So you don't even have the ability to move up, cause the issue, and then go into reserve to prevent people from getting to that squad. It's, what is it? It's like an 18-inch range. I don't know why they tell you to put this leg on last when you have to settle in the fabric. Like, this settled in perfect. This is not settling in. There we go. I think it's 18-inch range, and then they get the once a game 36, right? The problem is the way the terrain works in 40k right now, you're probably not going to see the opponent, because you have to see them. It's not just like, oh, your unit's within that range, I use it. It's, I have to see you while you're in that range. Once per battle, start of any opponent's shooting phase. Start of any of your opponent's shooting phase. Model can use its Psychic Familiar. If it does, until the end of the phase, double the range. Start of your opponent's shooting phase. One Psyker model from your army with this ability, blah, blah. E3. Oh, no, it's different. My bad. I thought it was something different. I can never remember what the Magus does. So she's just -1 to hit. Not eligible to shoot. It's putting too much emphasis on needing the 6. The -1 to hit only works against some units. Not a lot, some. In particular, it tends to be helpful against things like Imperial Guard. But, I don't know, man. I don't think it's enough. I don't think she's enough. For 50 points, I feel like there's so many other leaders that for like 10 or 20 more points are a million times better. And her benefit of Feel No Pain 5 against psychic attacks, meaningless. Just so meaningless. Well, no, the Magus is only -1 to hit or can't hit. It's the Changeling. She's the Changeling, but with less ability. The Changeling can do her ability, but also it causes her to have to, or he's able to cause battle shocks in anything that targets him. And if they fail the battle shock, they can't shoot him. They can shoot other things, they just can't shoot him, which is so much better as an ability. Yeah, she's narratively she could be useful. No, yeah, I can't wait to bust that Zangor strat out. That's in my back pocket. I'm gonna play Thousand Suns at the next tournament, and I'm bringing that list. I gotta stop aiming for as many Cabals as possible. My one list that I was running all last weekend was 20 Cabal points. So unnecessary. So absolutely unnecessary. You really need to focus down your leadership in your army to just a few units that are like full-size rubrics. At least in most of the metas I've seen. Going MSU is a great way to like not have enough firepower to deal with Horde. Which is not what you want. I think this is how they wanted me to do it. Means this is actually wrong. If she could turn off Overwatch at the beginning of your move phase, that would be massive. That'd be so huge. There's no one in this game right now, right, who can turn off Overwatch? They need to maybe adjust that. There's got to be a unit that pops out that goes, yeah, no Overwatch for you. None. Good day, sir. There are some mechanics in 40K that they have not explored yet that I need them to explore. I think the main anti-Overwatch that currently exists is the Thousand Suns' ability to move in the shooting phase. Yeah, you kind of have to preemptively battle shock. I wish there was more of a guarantee, though. I hate leaning your entire strategy on being like, all right, I'm going to battle shock that guy now. Because you're only ever really afraid of Overwatch from full-size models. A full 10-man brick of rubrics, all flamers with a really good leader with a flamer like a Infernal Master. That's horrifying. I don't want to go into that. I don't want to be shot by that. I don't want to get anywhere near that. But if I could have a unit 18 inches away that goes, take a battle shock now, and like the beginning of the phase or whatever, and then you go, oh crap, and then you have to take your battle shock test and you fail for whatever reason, and then it's like, yeah, I can do it. I don't like that it's the constant. And battle shock, if it actually goes off, does actually feel pretty strong conceptually, because it not only removes you from Overwatch, but it removes you from all other possibilities. Like the Vashtor list, if you end a movement within 9 inches of them, I can spend a command point to reactive move towards you with one of my vehicles. That's pretty cool. Battle shock would also have turned that off as well.
But if you had something explicitly that, like, let's say something in the Gene Stealer cult army, maybe the assassins from the Imperial Assassins book, or maybe Harlequins from Eldari, have something built into them that's straight up just like, yo, for a command point on your end or some other situation, you can mark a squad to not be able to be targeted by Overwatch. That'd be huge. It prevents me from feeling like crap by being like, oh, my Hellbrute can't target itself with a spell to prevent you from screwing me over in this other situation. I can still do that. I just can't Overwatch you. This guy has a lot of parts. Oh no. A lot of parts. 12, 11, and 10. Because a lot of people are relying on Overwatch right now. In particular, Space Marines use the Land Raider that has the flamers on it. I watched a Land Raider, the Flamer Land Raider, kill a Hellbrute. He Overwatched into a World Leader Hellbrute, which would have been able to then fire back at it if it didn't die immediately. No, yeah, but a lot of people are leaning to needing to take the Battle Shock to get back out. Even if your squad's above full size, it would empower Battle Shock a little bit, but you're still kind of beholden to the system as it stands, right? Like, you're still kind of stuck. Let's pre-cut the stuff out for the second version. No, it's not. Because there's some ways around it. Against Thousand Suns, Rubric Marines are horrifying in Overwatch against actual Horde units. But you need to be a Horde unit to be scary. If I send my Rhino over to your frickin' Rubric Marine Flamers, you're probably not killing it. Especially if I'm not on the objective marker. Depending. Ahriman, maybe a little bit scarier, but something else, not so much. If I send a Hellbrute in front of your Rubric Marine Flamers and I'm not on an objective, I don't care. You can do what you want. You can pay your command point. Because the thing is, Thousand Suns, command points are very needed for us to really like handle a lot of things all at once. So wasting them on Overwatch in a situation where it's actually not beneficial, not good. Just not good. So there's ways around it, but it also makes it so that armies like the Green Tide, if they play into someone who has a lot of Overwatch potential on the field, like big scary units that are sitting, the best part, if they're sitting far enough behind models in front of them that even if you kill those models in front, you're not going to be able to collapse into the squad behind because it'll be a 3-inch movement. Then they get basically 2 phases of burning you to death. It's a fantastic way to sort of limit that type of stuff. Oh, we're talking about rhinos? Okay, real quick rule of thumb for rhinos. There's very few vehicles in this game that actually block line of sight. Oh, see, this is the issue. That's Tamiya right there. This is supposed to be done being glued. Like, I shouldn't need to put more glue on. Should have just been over. So your thought process is kind of right, but also I had this explained to me not that long ago as to why it's not exactly right with how vehicles and blocking line of sight works. Because you're looking at the game of this is a brick, right? What you're not seeing is that this is very see-through down here. In fact, you can see the whole way through the bottom. You can see through each and every single one of these treads. You cannot hide behind a rhino. Straight up, you just can't hide behind a rhino. There are only a few vehicles you can properly hide behind. So by rule of thumb, never assume a vehicle is line of sight blocking. Trucks are the same way. Rock grinders are the same way. I'm putting actual glue on this. You think it's stupid, but it is how it's supposed to be right now. I think there's actually models that exist that have a rule that specifically state you can't see past it. That's how they've kind of done that historically. Is being like, yo, so this is actually line of sight blocking as a vehicle. I think the guard might have some of it. But at a competitive, I say professional, but at a competitive level, that's the assumption, is that vehicles do not block line of sight. They just don't. Nothing in this game blocks line of sight, and in the current rule system, benefit of cover only comes from things that explicitly state they provide benefit of cover. Therefore, shooting through an enemy squad that you don't see everyone on the other side like perfectly through, that still doesn't provide benefit of cover. That's why there's things in this game that provide like auras for that kind of thing. The Demon Prince leader who provides benefit of cover to everyone near it. Stuff like that. Speaking of which, I have to decide. I'm either going to take my second Helldrake in replacement of Vashdor, or I'm going to take the Demon Prince for benefit of cover and try to move him up the field with the Mauler Fiends. But my issue is that my Mauler Fiends are so big that there's probably no way my opponent is going to have full line of sight on them if I use their bases properly like I should be. I really wish Vashdor's reactive move, the Soulforged reactive move, claimed that it would work at the beginning of a movement. Like if someone started a move near you, you'd be able to do it. That'd be great. Just to pull a Mauler Fiend up on someone and be like, try to move now. But I think it says at the end of the move. If it actually has no gaps, maybe. It could be assumed that maybe it doesn't. But the assumption there as well is that if you're shooting at something behind it and the thing has like a pole, like a banner, or like a flowing cape that's seen slightly above the model, then It's a little annoying. I wish we based everything... I wish that was kind of where they pulled some of the kill team rules in, right? Where you would get benefit of cover from being within an inch of something in front of you. Because that's kind of risky, right? If you put a squad within an inch of another squad to give them benefit of cover, that means if the opponent charges the front squad, they could always pile into the squad behind, no problem, and just keep that combat going. So there's a bit of a trade-off there. But they decided to go the other way with it. Kind of want to see if there's another update for Vashdor. It's kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Technically, the vehicle should be able to block line of sight if every inch. Like, there was I think the Chimeras. There's an Imperial Guard transport, I want to say, that the way it's designed, there's no vision through the spokes. So if the vehicle faces straight at you, you don't have true line of sight, or you have true line of sight on stuff at the other side because there's the gap underneath. But then if it faces sideways, I want to say the spokes are sealed. So there's like at least a level at which you can argue with your opponent to be like, no, bad. I feel like everyone on both servers are trying to console my issues with the DOT reveal from the day, not actually telling me anything I care about. Telling me that they have a conflagrate ability now instead of the summon tree, and that the way they're doing summoning being something you have to pay for. It feels so bad. Also, I need to reread that announcement because there was something in it about where are they? Transformed into spawn. Okay. No, it should be near here, but not quite here. It's the blue horror stuff. Here it is. Pink horrors are the largest and most dangerous of their kind, and when killed, their lunatic demise allows them to split and return slain models to nearby units. Here's the thing. So the original concept behind adding models to units was that Thousand Sons were able to, or the Disciples of Tzeentch were able to take that squad above its total size. Annoying, yes, for collecting, because you would always need to bring way more Zangors or something to a game. It's not great. Instead, what's going to happen here is existing units of blue horrors and brimstone horrors, which start out with 10 blue horrors and acquire brimstone horrors as casualties mount. So what it sounds like is you have a blue horror squad, and then as a blue horror dies, it becomes a brimstone. I'm guessing this is being designed this way to change how the boxes are purchased, because right now, if you buy a pink horrors box, you need to buy 2 blue horrors boxes for them. Which, that just sucks. But here, the pink horrors do not create blue horrors unless you already own a blue horror squad that's on the field that is currently missing blue horrors. Which, that kinda sucks. System allows us custom rules that represent unique weapons and more accurate powers of factions and keeping the pool of universal weapons abilities intact. Weird flame weapon ability. The new weapon ability system allows us to, 3 of the Disciples of Tzeentch battle traits. Conflagration of Tzeentch, Burning Weird Flame, and Quenching the Flames. All key into this weapon ability, and other abilities provide benefits to targeting units that are covered. So the whole point with this army is to mark targets with fire and then hit them. That's the whole point of this army. And as far as anyone can tell, flamers are going to be key for that. So thank God I own flamers. I bought them. I think their goal with this army is to try to make you mark targets with flamers and then hit things afterwards. It's weird. So they haven't quelled my issues. Like, that's my problem. And I figured we figured it wasn't going to happen that way. My biggest issue with Tzeentch right now, Disciples of Tzeentch, isn't the cost, which that is an issue, but my biggest issue is that from the army building side, the things they give me access to as like what I would want on the field feels weak. Like, why are you giving me melee enhancement weapons for an army that 9 times out of 10, my characters that would, you know, support a melee squad just do not hit hard enough to matter, right? I've gone into fodder units with my leaders and killed no one. Okay? That's how bad that is. No one wants to rush into a fodder squad and then not kill anything. It is quite possibly the worst feeling in the world to have a weapon on you that only provides a slight benefit too. Like, this was the thing. I think one of the benefits was if you kill someone and you don't have full destiny dice, you can, you know, increase your destiny dice. Roll another, get more destiny dice. And it's like, all right, yeah. Cool beans. But then to go from that... This is the right guy, right? Yeah. Then to go from that to just being like, eh. How does this go? Are they on the points or are they next to the points? I feel like they're supposed to be on it, right? It depends on your strategy. As far as I can tell from the short time I played in AOS so far, one of the key elements to the team is to have a meat wall, which is usually Zangors with shields, or maybe you go for some demons, and then to put your ranged behind them because you want that wall to survive, and then you want your shooty wall to kill the wall that's killing your meat wall, and then that's the whole game. It's just you doing that over and over and over again. As you try to get to points and hold them. You have a couple blender units you could use. Zangor Enlightened on discs are amazing cavalry blender. They're really good. But it is about just saturating mortal wounds into squads with ranged things. Just dealing with that. And then the feeling that I was getting, that I was going to start to lean into with my list building prospect, was to get some blue horrors on hand so that early game I could stack up enough summoning points to drop one squad blue horrors right away to block incoming people so that I didn't need to have a squad on field. I could save points and put them somewhere else. But that started ending up not being how it felt like to play. I just want to know when the game comes out that the enhanced weapons or things you do with your leaders to improve them doesn't feel just garbage. There are no Marauders. I think you'd have to take them as allies, but you don't normally get Marauders. Because Disciples has access to some of the Slaves to Darkness stuff, I believe. It's like a limited amount of points. I was debating taking Oghren. But I don't know. I don't know. Disciples of Tzeentch just feel weird, right? Because we don't have access to Oghren outside of allies, but we have a Myrmidon leader who's like an Oghren leader. It's just awkward. I wish it felt better, but we'll see. This is where we find out that they got rid of Beasts of Chaos and then just folded them into Disciples of Tzeentch. This will fix you guys, right? Access to more units. Getting some options going. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more waves of 2. I think. Yeah, they make you build just the basic bodies. 22, 21. They're slightly durable. Every time I have used my Zangors to try to like stop people from killing me, I feel like they just tear through them so easily. Like I get ward saves on them, which you usually want ward saves on your tanks. That's great. But, I mean, I've had enemy fodder units go into my Zangor shield bearers and just melt them. Like, it's not even a problem. Feels so bad when you come out the other end of that and you're just dead. You're just staring at a wall like, what happened? Why are we here now? I already built the second foot. That's why I don't need to build that guy. So it's 18, 19. Is there another 13, 14? Or is that different? Oh, that's different. Okay. So I need 18, 19, and 20. Easy mode. Oh. Those are the range guys. Those are acolyte, or not acolytes. Kyrics. Kyric acolytes. I found the easy model. We did it, everyone. 3 pieces. And we're done. And then the other one's like 4 pieces, which is good. So this is where the creators peter out in terms of like how much detail they want to put into something. You start and you're like, oh, this guy's gonna have giant barrels attached to him. It's gonna be great. This guy's gonna have crazy cool mechanical body armor and stuff. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. Then they start asking you about the later models and you're like, it'll just be a guy with a backpack. I love it. But yeah, Kyrics you want to put behind your meat wall. You can't put them forward. If you put them forward, they're gonna die. 100% they're gonna die. They get ward saves, but they're not as durable as Zangors. Zangors, I think, have 2 wounds per, and then Kyrics have 1. And in the original system, Kyrics start as a 10-man squad. I think they changed it, because I think they showed us the Kyric stuff, which is good. But Kyrics as a 10-man have access to casting the 1 spell they have access to. If they're a 9-man, they no longer have access to that spell. So, have fun with that. So you always want to reinforce them so you don't lose the spell by just someone shooting 1 arrow at you and killing you. You want to have at least a 11-person cushion. Which is good, because then when you cast the spell, the entire squad gets the benefit of the +1 rend. And then you try to get within, I think it's 18-inch range with them. And you try to open fire and put a cushion between you and your opponent. That way your opponent has to try to like burn a lot of movement to get around your meat wall. It's a whole thing. Pretty sure they showed the Kyrics though. But yeah, people on this server are just like, it was a bit broken to go above your starting force. Which is, it's fun to hear that after the guy in our own Discord was like, they're going to lower our points because we were way too overcosted because of summoning. And it's like, it's not broken when my basic units cost way more than your units. So yeah, they have Gestalt Sorcery, although this might be the Spearhead. Spearhead War Scroll might be different. They tell you about Gestalt Sorcery, and that's it. They don't tell you about any of the war gear that they used to get, but saves 5, move 5, health 1, control 1. And I'm seeing no info on here about ward saves, which is a bit concerning, because that's what they used to have. I guess they might have gotten rid of ward saves or changed something. Yeah, they have ranged. They have swords and shields, but they have something called a Sorcerous Bolt, which according to this is, this is probably about the same. Range 18, attacks 1, hit 4+, wounds 3+, damage 1, no rend. You cast on a 2d6 to see if you're able to gain rend 1, and I think it's a 6+ on 2d6 to gain rend 1. That's how they work. It's considered a spell, so you would get summoning points from the spell cast, which is now gone. Honestly, I think they looked at the game and went, this is too weird, and it's not completely useful anymore. Because it was probably more useful back when there were a lot more teams that would rely a lot on sorcery, and then they started moving into teams that didn't need sorcery anymore, and teams that had priests instead, which priests don't count as sorcery spells. They're chants. So they moved the game away from really considering any of it to have any value with the basic team ability, is what it seems like. But the replacement for it doesn't seem interesting because I don't know the rest of the stuff. It is kind of like marking targets with Crossfire, which is great. But I really need to see the rest of the stuff. I've collected a lot of demons since my return with the Thousand Suns, so I do have access to a lot of demons. I've got a full contingent of Screamers. I've got a frickin' Fate Skimmer. I've got an Exalted Flamer. I've got regular Flamers. I think we're going to be good. Yes, big buff guys with swords and shields and a bird and a guy with a scroll. They are not melee-centric. They are very weak in melee. You do not want them in melee. This is the wrong side. Is it? No, it's the right side. They're the casters. Your front line is Zangor, technically. Zangor with shields. Or demons. You get some blue horrors going. And just in case you were wondering, I once charged an enemy squad with a Lord of Change that had the sword upgrade as well as an enhancement for melee to give me benefit from doing decently in melee, and proceeded to lose to a very simple squad of fighters because you do not attack enough with that giant monster to really warrant like a victory condition. He needs to go in with other units, at which point, because of how melee works in the game, where you have to choose who's going to go first and then let your opponent choose, if I want my guy to gain any benefits from his enhancement, I have to have him go first, which means he's not killing that squad. And then the squad's going to go and most likely attack the other squad I put into combat with them to prevent it from killing them outright. It's a whole thing. I really hope they move the enhancements, if there are any, as far away from melee-centric as possible. We need ranged ones. Almost everyone I heard that played Disciples of Tzeentch talked about how they just focused their... they would just refocus their
attacking potential into, I think it's called the Demon Heart. They would give the Demon Heart to someone who could take it. And you're basically just trying to keep that guy alive till the end. Because if you can, it's pretty pog. Because what's going to happen is you're going to run into combat with that Demon Heart. Or get close enough to combat with that Demon Heart. And then go, haha! You take 5 mortals or whatever. Like right off the bat, you just straight wreck something with 5 mortals. Hopefully it's something you've chipped down enough. Or maybe you chip it down enough that you can do it earlier. Just get it out of the way. 15. We're almost done the bodies, which I'm happy for. No, yeah, they're a weird army. And it's hard to figure out exactly what I need to do with them. Because I've seen other armies, and the beatings we've, like, taken by those armies. It's just weird, man. So there's alternate backpacks for this, I guess with weapons. I guess the whole point is to have a different weapon type, maybe. How do they want me to apply the backpack stuff? Oh, it's just pick and choose. Okay. Cultists, poggers. So yeah, I'll probably eventually buy 2 more boxes of these. I've gone way over my tabletop gaming budget this month, though. I need to calm the hell down. We've gone too far. I bought a bunch of display case stuff. Got the Rhino, the Cultist Squad, the 2 Warp Smiths, Vashdor, who's still not even here right now. I think I'll try. I'll figure out the Disciples, I think. That's the thing. I'm still just like, well, that was a fun reveal. Hopefully I see actual rules. Like, I'm just gonna have to read the index, because I feel like I wasn't shown or told enough to really know what's going on. Because they are ringing in a lot of what people had, which is probably fine. But I feel like they took this massively interesting and elaborate thing that we had before and just outright destroyed it. And the thing is, the whole time we were talking about that chart beforehand, the summoning chart, I was very adamant that maybe they should just let it be spells or enhancements or buffs based on sorcery bonuses. And that would be it. That'd be cool. They said there was something about Weird Flame, though. Is Weird Flame the enhancement, or is that like the new tree? Is that like the new thing that we're going to be able to pull from? Where maybe you get enough sorcery points, and then you declare like, oh, my leader has this buff for this turn or something. I don't know, man. Things on my list are 2 more of the Ashe Waste Nomads, 1 more of the Rhinos, and I'm actually debating grabbing a Predator and magnetizing it so I can swap between las cannons or auto cannons to run it as either, depending on what I think I want to run. Because I'm not going to lie, man, Vashdor with those auto cannons, holy crap. If I feel like I have enough anti-tank on the team, which I probably will, going those autocannons, holy God. I'd probably go heavy bolters on it too, honestly.
Yeah, we need to just see index. I don't know what we have. Like, I read the Git stuff, and they were like, oh, all these cool Bad Moon things. It's like, oh, nice. The Bad Moon's still around. Disciples of Zinch. We got rid of your summoning tree. No longer do you accrue points for something, it seems like, to then spend on enhancements or anything for a turn. And instead, you can choose to light one thing on fire. And we're not going to tell you if other things can light stuff on fire, which you're just going to have to stand around and assume will happen. Because if not, crazy, right? That we would give you the ability to light one squad on fire, and that's it. Something that seems to be tied massively to one of your key countering elements is to prevent enemies from regenerating new models. That's wild, right? That it only works once. It's got to work more than once, right? We hope. I'm hoping the demons are the things that do it. I say that out loud, but it also didn't say that the Kairos Fate Weaver ability triggers that, so I'm a little worried. What up, Arturo? It could be. It could be beneficial to try to mag them to swap between rhinos and preds, and I do think that that's probably pretty easy. But, like, in considering how Vashdor, the soul list works, I've come to some conclusions. You usually only want one thing on your team to go demon mode, if possible. So I'm debating having a backline Hellbrute to buff my guys and just kind of chill and protect my people from any backline screening issues. So the only one that I really need to demonify is the Hellbrute on the front line with the hammer and fist. So that's the only place I need to put that command point if I need to use it. Which I'm hoping I don't have to. But, that being said, Predator Destructor, Predator Annihilator. Let's see if these are the same. Pretty sure these are the same. So Predator Destructor, Predator Autocannon. 4 attacks, 3 up, 9 up, or 9 strength, AP 1, damage 3. That's pretty impressive. When fired at infantry, it increases the AP by 1, so this is pretty anti-Terminator here as well. But Terminators, for the most part, are toughness 5, unless you're, you know, amazing, because you're a freaking Death Guard. But they're usually toughness 5, to my memory. Maybe not. Maybe they are toughness 6. Chaos Terminators. T5. So with Vashdor nearby, you've now increased your Predator autocannon strength to 10, which means you are wounding Terminators on 4. You Vashdor packed them to go, you know, sustained most likely, or you'll have a Hellbrute nearby for sustained lethal. You are now strength 10, improved wounds by 1, so you're wounding on 3s with 4 shots that have lethal sustain potentially. And then maybe you do that with the heavy bolters as well. Strength 6. It's good against toughness 3. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. I think it's good. They're good. I like their look. I do really like their look. I definitely consider them better than the monopose Chaos Cultists. Because monopose Cultists are mediocre at best looking. And the fact that you're going to need tons of them. Like, this is the thing. I really wish Chaos Cult boxes had a lot of variation. I'll be able to vary these guys a little bit. Their bodies are about the same, but you'll get some variation. Which is really good because you need a ton of cultists now for chaos. Even beyond that, like, it seems like almost all armies want cultists to a degree. Oh, this is actually hanging. I think it's hanging, right? Oh yeah, it's just in reverse. Oh no. Is there too much Tamiya chemical in the air? The triggering melts. I do like the older Cultist models a little better. But new Cultist mob is what? Pistols and like a crude melee weapon, and that's all they get now. So like the Cultists that actually have guns, those are gone. They are no mas. Well, I used to run. I mean, I'm a Thousand Suns player. Our Cultists were, I think, all about gaining CP if they killed something, which lol, or if they died, which yeah, okay. But it's still by a roll. Like you lose your Cultist squad, you get a CP. That's super cool. And then you just leave them standing on points, and then hope the person kills them. That's the trade. You get a CP for a death. Hooray! Potentially, you still have to roll. But Chaos ones provide sticky, which is what I want, which is why I'm thinking of using them. I have currently lined up Felgor in my team because I have all the Zangors, and I'll just use my Zangors as Felgor to fill some gaps. But over time, those Felgor are going to get swapped out for probably more Cultists, just so I can have more potential sticky on the field. And then Chaos Guard, as we know, they get, what, benefit of cover at all times on objectives, so okay. But they also have more ranged, whereas these guys are close ranged. They're meant to die, which is obnoxious, because if you know how intricate the Chaos Cult models look, that means you're literally painting really well a bunch of people who are meant to die. And like, these aren't that different. I'm going to try to work these guys out to not be like super hard to paint. I think almost all of their cloth is going to be the same color, which, yep. And then it's basically the cloth, the metal, and then the face masks. And then we'll probably do something with the back cloth to be like little banners. Specifically color-wise. All right, Pyro. We had some guy go off on the Discord the other day. I have no idea what that was. It was a person who joined, and then the first thing they did was they went to our core chat and just said a bunch of random stuff like that made no sense. They weren't responding to anyone. They didn't seem to be talking about anything we were talking about. They just said, I think, 5 sentences that made 0 sense. That's one of the key things I remember about their first time there. And I was like, that's odd. And then I just didn't think about it. And then like 2 days later, they did the same exact thing. I was like, this is a bot. There's no way this isn't a bot. And then yesterday they spammed a link to a YouTube page in the core chat, and I blocked them. And then they immediately started spamming like racial slurs and you should all die and stuff. And I was like, whoa. Whoa. Pretty sure it's still a bot. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a bot, and I'm pretty sure the bot picked up on the fact that I banned it. Or I muted it, and it was just spamming, so then I just banned it. Because screw that noise, dude. None of that. What time is it? I might have to finish these at home. I want to just finish them. I don't know if I can stream tomorrow. I'm getting pretty busy. I want to finish gluing these guys together as my cultists. Well, I think it was just programmed to like be obnoxious if it picked up that it was muted. For whatever reason. Like, my biggest worry was if I left it on my Discord, it would start messaging you guys to try to get you to click links and stuff that would hack your accounts. Because that's a thing. There's a big problem on Discord, and Discord does not actively try to solve it. I've had friends who manage, well, people I know, who manage massive communities of like people from their YouTube channels and stuff, and their account will get hacked. And they'll spend months trying to get it back. Because in that time, their account's basically sending messages to all these people. That's like, yo, click this link. And then that link hacks their account. It's ridiculous. So I was just like, you know what? No. Also, as a reminder, if you're ever start getting messages from people from our Discord with like, click this link, don't do it, and then tell me about it. All right, we're gonna try to power through their backpack components, maybe their guns, because there should be enough on here to give them pistols in bulk, like the short-ranged guns and melee weapons. We're also gonna pick their heads. But yeah, it's apparently a big problem with Discord is that they don't police that well enough. They don't have enough of a system in place to really prevent that from occurring. That guy's really going to need the dry. I like the look of him, dude. I do. Because I have my cultist team. Technically, you could probably buy these for Chaos Cults as the kill team too. Since the Chaos Cultists kill team, you only really have you only have the one loadout anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's benefit, there's money in it, because they hack your accounts and then they start going all over the place, and it actually lets them get into like other things that they're not supposed to. And then they'll usually spam people with like advertisements for their own sites and stuff. They do. I like these models. They're so detailed in a way that I actually enjoy. Like I said, their color scheme is most likely going to be me just spray painting them white. And then I'm going to use the Cultist cloak speed paint, the dark blue to black, over pretty much everything. And we'll just pick out spots, because dark blue to black can easily turn into metallic tones, no problem. Because you'll have a dark base tone. Check them out. 10-man squad of cultists with a leader unit that doesn't actually need to be a leader unit. I could easily see these being solid models for kit bashing. So we need to pick backpack cloth. One. Two. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, leaving us 6 that we need. I think they only give you 6. Ooh, that feels a little rough. Not quite yet. My buddy does play Necromunda. I mean, I might look at it, but I mean, we're getting over inundated, man. Kill Team, Underworlds, AOS 4.0 coming up. 40k 10th edition. Yeah, I gotta get more videos out. I have to. I'm almost done a script for a How to Kill Team video. I want to try to figure out if I can get like some smaller evergreen videos out where we're going to talk about like list building. Specifically, I want to put out as quickly as possible, and I wish I had a scanner because it would speed everything up. We're going to talk about putting Vastor lists together in terms of topics of what units could be fun and why. Because that's the key thing here. Units need to be fun. Or at least useful, strategically speaking. That's why I like using the Helldrake that I have. It's because the more I look into it, the more I think about it, the more I realize that the Helldrake is actually massively benefited from the Chaos Space Marine version and rules of it, as well as the Vastor list. It's just way too good to avoid using. I want to talk about the Predator function, the rationale behind the autocannon use, going over the issue of command points taking forever to gain. And there really isn't a way to speed that up right now with the army. You can take Chaos Lords that allow the squads to be targeted for free, but that doesn't matter. Like, you can't use the Vastor list stuff on the squads. So you're not really getting any benefit unless you're trying to do something with grenades or something. But I don't even think that works. I think the only thing you can get out of a free command point use is what? Overwatch? I think, no. Reroll. Reroll's it, right? Like, there's nothing else you can get out of the common command points that really matter. Or, like, maybe go to ground. Music done. Music's done. Down here, next 50. Oh, I do really want to do a battle report. It's just hard. Because if I'm going to do a battle report, I need to record it the way that I do. But that requires a lot of space. I can't take it to stores to do it. Which means I need to set up an area to do it. And at which point I need people to come over here and record battle reports with them. And they take so long. Like the core issue is it's a lot of work. If you want to do a battle report properly, you need to kind of record them differently. I like recording them the way I record them, but it's not conductive to getting a good video together. A lot of people seem to really like what is it, tabletop tactics and stuff like that. And if you ever actually watch a tabletop tactics battle report, they're not really telling you a lot about what happened. They're mostly just giving you highlights with some flavor, which I think covers up a lot of the issue of what a battle report could probably be. I want to say a lot of people focus in, when they do a battle report, on trying to give the people watching all the information, right? While trying to make the battle report short. You do like a 40-minute or a 30-minute battle report, go over everything, and just be like, all right, now you know. Hopefully all that info I just told you out loud is helpful. All right, we need to separate them so I don't double up who has what. These guys are kind of already pre-doubled by accident. I didn't need to, but I did it anyway. So like this, 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 and this, and this. No, I'm in kind of that area, but I'm more in Delaware. But I can easily get to Maryland, Jersey, or PA from where I'm located, like without much issue. How do these get glued on? I feel like it's this, right? There's obviously two things here that you're supposed to put points in. So yeah, there we go. I see it now. I understand. So they have these fun universal style backpacks that you can just clip stuff into. Scranton, I think, is kind of close. I'm trying to remember where Scranton is. Might not be close, actually. I could have swore I used to hang out with someone who lived in Scranton. Scranton. That's in PA. Scranton's probably an hour and a half. Not great. Surprisingly, not a lot of mold lines on these guys. Kind of impressive, considering what I'm used to. Do you think when these guys are getting ready to go into a fight, they make, like, cow noises? Like the Tusken Raiders? Who they are obviously based off. These are obviously based after Tusken Raiders. The thing is, I have a lot of my friends who play. I think the issue is we're all trying to get our schedules straight. My main buddy that plays 40k right now and has a bunch of kill team stuff, he doesn't really want to play unless it's winter. Because he spends, his whole personal thing is during summers he wants to be able to like go out, do football, stuff like that. He wants to just sports, you know, sports it up. So we need 6, 7, 8, 9 heads, I think, because I didn't, oh no, 8. Grab 8 heads. But yeah, it's reasonable for him to not want to, you know, spend every week trying to get battle reports together. When we first started it out and started making the battle reports, I think I stayed over there for like a week during the winter break stuff that he does, where he's like trying to hang out more. And we recorded so much. It was great. We got into so much stuff for Kill Team. We had like 8 battle reports ready to go. It was fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Six. My thing is I need to just set up a spot, right? That I can do it. 7. I think, do they give you just enough heads? I think they do. Oh God. Oh wait, no, that's the leader head, and then this is, okay. They give you a bonus leader head. Sort of. You have to use it, though. Probably have to glue the warp smiths down. hard. And the thing is, a lot of channels are figuring this out too. Like, Mountainside, I feel like Mountainside slowed down pretty heavily. They've done a few more, like, we'll talk about stuff videos. They're kind of hoping the Patreon holds them a bit. And then they put out some battle reports, and their battle reports are good. They're also insanely well edited, which means there's a lot behind that video making. Like, craziness going on over there. I mean, I consider everything that they're doing, and all I can think is, oh my god. That video, the recording of it has to take like an hour and a half more than it would normally take to play a game, simply because you have to keep moving the camera around for every action you're about to take, which is crazy. And then when they go to edit it, the fact that at the end of every round they do the visual recap of everyone's movement. Oh yeah, dude. And then you have kids on top of that. That is wild. And I'm a one-man operation that has to try to like pull people in for battle report recording, which it's something I want to do, but it's not something I can hyper focus on. That's why I'm trying to make sure I still have avenues open so that I can show you guys like hobby things, like painting units and fun conversions and stuff like that. Streams where we can talk, like actually live and talk about things and have discussion. Strategy videos, some faction overview videos. I do now. The issue is I'm not. When you look at other groups, they have like enough people that when it comes time to like look at the rules and consider how the rules are, you'll have people who are versed in specific teams, right? Like, I know GSC, I know Thousand Suns, I know Chaos Knights, and I'm getting into Chaos because of the ability to run Thousand Sun stuff as Chaos, which is fine. But World Leaders drops, I'm not a World Leaders player, and I don't know a World Leaders player that would want to sit down and talk about it. Sisters, I got a friend. But I'm gonna have to talk to him and then write the script based on things he tells me, and then do the script myself, because he's gonna be busy. He's not gonna want to sit down and do like a 2-hour recording talking about, you know, the changes to Sisters. And it's the same thing with his Custodes. He knows Custodes, but he's not gonna want to, you know, stop his day to talk to me about Custodes. Seems kind of meaningless. Why does his neck feel wrong? I'll try the different head. So I don't really have the tabletop tactics or Vanguard tactics potential of being like, I've got 5 people here who know what they're doing and are going to be able to tell you about all the cool rules that I don't recognize because I haven't really studied up on their rules heavily. I'm relying on my friends to tell me that stuff. So I could do a Chaos overview, and I think I will, most likely. Figure out the knives and stuff. $39.40. I thought there was going to be more close combat weapons. Because they definitely were just like, hey, there's a ton of weapons. But they only give you 2 knives, 2 pistols. I can do another chainsword because they don't actually have a leader in this unit, so it doesn't really matter where the chainsword goes, or the chain spear. So yeah, I realized about halfway through last year that I can't rely on focusing on battle reports. If I can get a battle report together, and I can show you guys the fun stuff from it, excellent. But I feel like this is also something on top of it where, like, Bricky bought a channel, or didn't buy, he took over a channel who was known for battle reports because he wanted to try to keep the battle reports going, and the person running the channel was like, I can't keep doing this. I got other things going on. And he was like, oh, that's fine. I'll do it. It'll be great. We'll have a pre-established community, and we'll kick some ass. And he was getting people to come out from, like, all over to do sort of like a pseudo celebrity battle report thing almost. And then even he was like, yep, I gotta stop. It's so much work. It's so much effort. And at the end of like a year of doing it, he realized it actually, the channel, to run the channel and do what he needed to do on the channel, it cost him money. Like by the end of all of it, he was down in income. You never want to see that when you're done a channel. You never want to see the negative number. Oh, thank you. Trying to keep to my Thousand Sun theme. I just want to be able to use them as Chaos Space Marines. In this list that I'm going to be testing out this weekend, even though my Vashtor's not here, and I'm super freaking mad about that. I do run my rubrics as rubrics, though. That is a thing. It's mostly for funsies, because I have a Rhino that they're going to be in. And for those who don't know, allies and Chaos, outside of the Emperor's Children at this point, they don't get the benefit of Dark Pacting. They just don't. They're kind of screwed in that regard. Yeah. It's just, it's not enough. I feel like you have to run a bunch of sponsors to run a channel like that and have a really good Patreon. I think the fact of the matter is that places like Tabletop Tactics has enough membership attached to it that they're able to do it and do it well. And I do think they found a really good rhythm as to how to do it. Because you need a ton of videos and you need a ton of turnaround. And if you've been watching Tabletop Tactics, dude, those guys must be working all the time. They did, in that one whole run, they did like a D&D campaign, a running 40K campaign. They sprinkled in some like games that aren't as known about. Like, dude, they went crazy. I did not expect them to pull that kind of insanity off. That was wild to see all that stuff just starting to come out. I was blown away. But just the fact of the matter is they're getting a ton of money from sponsorship and their channel fans through most likely their website or whatever membership they run. So they only get long rifles and blast rifles after this point, which I kind of hate. But it is what it is. One's 32, 33. I am hoping they gave me enough regular rifle parts that I don't have to use that harpoon gun. So that's kind of what I'm doing with my channel, is trying to hone stuff in so that people don't just assume I'm a battle report channel, and to get other stuff out. I'm really glad with the viewership that Castigator video got. I'm so happy. Because I like the notion of, let's talk strategy, let's talk information that just dropped, let's talk, like, I need that. I think we need that as like a primary. And then to just focus on the editing. And maybe even sprinkle in some like fun skits, shorts, sketch stuff. I think it'll be fine. Did I glue? I'm pretty sure I glued magnets onto the bottom of the warp smiths. What time is it? We're gonna have to end early-ish today. I'm probably gonna have to pack this up. I want these done today. I don't want to wait till tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna stream tomorrow. Stuff's kicking up this week that's kind of getting in the way of a lot of my scheduling potential. So there's a chance I don't do anything tomorrow, and instead, we most likely won't be doing anything Friday because I do have a game currently scheduled for Friday, but even that's kind of suspect, which I don't like. I'm gonna try to get some verification that I can get out there on Friday. Oh god. Oh no. Tiny Necromunda piece, no! Uh-oh. That is actually kind of a problem. Where did it go? Oh, my guess was right. I'm wearing slip-on shoes, and I felt like it hit the back of the heel. OOTD. I just need to start thinking of like topics though. Like topics that are good for the algorithm, which are usually lists or top 10s. But also good for tabletop gaming. Like, I feel like conceptual videos where I go over a bunch of like the Thousand Sun units people don't see and then talk about the rationale behind using them. I think a video that would be great would actually be talking about a Thousand Sun list that doesn't even focus a little bit on Cabal points. Like maybe it at most has 5 Cabal points. Like the theory of Zangor Horde, right? I think something like that could be kind of interesting. We run some numbers. Only a little bit. The trick is that since Warhammer is such a mainstay of information for a lot of people, or of game, I guess, for a lot of people, there's not like a lot of plans to do it. Because I do love the competitive side. Thinking about the people I have local to me that I have access to for knowledge base as well as gameplay potentiality. Like, they're all Games Workshop. Going to tournaments, could probably more easily talk about Games Workshop stuff than most other things. Like, it's just how it is. And I know a lot of people kind of look at Games Workshop as, like, big corporation bad. And yeah, to a degree. They definitely don't make all the best decisions. But culturally speaking, informationally speaking, like, what was it? Tabletop Tactics, I believe, were the ones that they took some like ad video stuff. I guess they just did some ads that involved, what was it? Apex Legends, I think was the game. So they took money to show people Apex Legends, which honestly, like, no issues there. Money helps channels grow, helps pay people who work for you, blah, blah, blah. That's great. The game they showed off was a skirmish game that honestly, mechanically, not a big issue. Actually kind of sound as a game. But that video got like a quarter of their normal viewership. Like a quarter. And I'm still too small to throw those out. Although, honestly, I probably could, because of how small I am, if I can do something quick enough as like a game overview and talk about it. It could be worthwhile just to chuck some other stuff out there. It might feel weird because of how most of the assets for this channel are built around the Games Workshop world. Like the character you're seeing in the bottom corner of the screen, his companion Greg, the backgrounds, the backdrops, and all that. Although I could technically apply this miniature into the other realms to show like different things. We did just do that whole AOS thing where he opens a portal and goes somewhere else. So there's kind of like a pre-set up concept to the channel of like, hey, let's go to the Mech Warrior world, right? Like let's play that game. So, you know, it's viable. Everyone loves Greg. Alright, so I gotta get moving. And I need to finish these guys. So I'm gonna take the parts home along with the building stuff. I'm gonna help. I think I have to help put mulch out. Like, literally, I could be finishing these right now, but I have to help them with mulch that they purchased, which my dad even complained about because my mom made him talk to a landscaper about how much it'll cost to professionally mulch their whole front yard of the house they're going to sell. And they came out, they talked, they did this whole back and forth, and they got a price, and my dad was like, all right, that's a good price, it'll be great. And they figured it would be fine. And then literally yesterday, my mom was like, we're just going to mulch it ourselves. Got quotes, got everything from like 3 different people. Now we'll just mulch it ourselves. And that's literally out of nowhere. None of us knew it was going to happen. So that's what we're doing now. I'm going to pack these guys up so I can finish building them at home. Again, like I said, probably no stream, because I think I'm just going to have to hyper focus. We might. Pay attention to the Discord. I'll at least talk about it there to let people know if it's going to happen or not. Disciples of Tzeentch reveals, TLDR, not super impressed with the information, but that's because I feel like we don't have all the information and that kind of sucks. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for talking. Thanks for chilling. Thanks for keeping chat alive. Thanks for the donos, Andy. And talk to you guys next time. Later.